I'm going to wait for a few minutes and just kind of see if I get somebody in here. I messed up with my scheduling my live, and I put it for tomorrow instead of today. So there's that. But I'm just going to give this a few more minutes. If you guys, any of y'all are watching this on replay, just fast forward for a little bit. So, anybody who hops in here, if you have not had a chance to watch Just Doing podcast from last night, please do that. Of course, all of their episodes are great. These dudes, they're no drama. They don't really even like getting into any of the drama stuff, but they do when they feel like they have to, when something needs to be said. And they say it, and they drop it, and they leave it alone. So, but that was a good episode, and that kind of gives you an inkling as to why I'm making this live today. And this live, basically, you know, do you guys know what like an experiment is, like an MK Ultra experiment? If you do, put it in the chat. If you don't, just put a thumbs down. But MK Ultra has started, and I believe actually it started way before the 50s, but that's the first actual, quote, documentation that they have, where basically they used all sorts of different ways to try to control people. And they would try to control how they think, how they act, all sorts of things, right? So what does that have to do with Ryan's fan base, Creek Squad? What does that have to do with anything? Now, this may be a little bit of a stretch for some people, and that's okay, because I'd just rather you think about it, even if you don't agree with me, you know? So, anyway, going forward, good to see you, Gaming Squads. I don't really game that much, but I can have my husband go and check out your channel. He's the one who's the gamer of the family. I just watch him game. I'm one of those few that actually will watch him game. I don't game. So I'll have him check out your channel. Go with the look at you through the live chat. Anyway, so one of the main ways the CIA before has been able to control the masses through MK Ultra is also by propaganda. And that's why I said I believe these kind of experiments that they go forth and try to control masses of people have gone back even way before MK Ultra. I believe these were just different ways that they used to try to control people. Because with the MK Ultra, they used all sorts of different ways to do so. Now, let's look at propaganda. Does anybody here know what propaganda is? Hey, Jody, good to see you, bro. If you know what propaganda is, put it in the chat. If you don't, that's okay. You can put a thumbs down. We'll go into it. Even if you can think of an example of propaganda. So, let's look at our beautiful country, the United States of America. For example, every war we have had some sort of propaganda, correct? Now, I say this, but let me just say this. I support our troops. I support our military. I do not care whatever propaganda is out there. No matter what, I'm going to support those dudes putting their life out there. That has nothing to do with this discussion. So, but usually there is propaganda. You know, you look at 9/11. I fell into that 9/11 bit completely. I did. Who else did? If you did, put a thumbs up. If you didn't, put a thumbs down. Yeah, definitely. The Twin Towers went down. Yes. Somebody attacked us. Yes. But is it the person that they say did this behind all of it? I don't think so. And more has come out since then to prove that it wasn't just these two radical dudes that came out there and did it. Yeah, they did do what they did, kamikaze themselves into our Twin Towers, but there was more going on before that to make sure those Twin Towers went down. And they were meeting up with certain people from I believe it was the FBI, maybe it was the CIA. Anyway, look at that. Look at Vietnam. These are just a few examples of propaganda. Okay, how does this work with music, right? Well, look at Taylor Swift. Who is sick of seeing and hearing about Taylor Swift? I know I am. And if you're a fan of her, that's not me dogging you. To each his or her own, you know. But they put her out there on purpose. They truly do. Because she is what they want their poster child to be. Mainstream music. Okay? Look at, let's give another example. Look at independent artists. Let's just go straight into it. Let's look at independent artists. Look at Ryan Upchurch. After they tried for years to get him to sign and they finally got it through their head that he won't sign, what happened? He started having so many people turn against him, right? Isn't that interesting? You know, and you think, now, Upchurch would never sign. I know he wouldn't because he's told us he won't and he never will. But mainstream music was really thinking he was going to. So they left him alone during that period of time, right? So that's why a lot of people are seeing, even now, it's the same thing. Just like Apple Creek said in the last live, it's the same thing. It's been going on for years, but now it's more ugly and it's more chaotic. Now you have all sorts of people turning their back on Ryan. So, what's another example of propaganda, you guys? Do y'all think content creators, you know, do you think that they do some propagandizing? If you do, put a thumbs up. If you don't, put a thumbs down. And it doesn't have to be, you know, somebody within the Creek Squad community. You can look at other channels. If you think they're doing some kind of propaganda, if you've ever seen it out there, put a thumbs up. If not, put a thumbs down. I have seen it. I have seen it even now in Creek Squad, looking back. And I have seen it, of course, outside of Creek Squad as well. And for those of you who don't know what this is all about, Ryan Upchurch is an independent artist. He is one of the greatest artists. And his fan base is called Creek Squad. We call each other Holler Boys and Holler Girls. Okay? So, let me go into propaganda with content creators, specifically within Creek Squad. You have content creators constantly making videos And watching content from one particular person, he's like, according to them, Creek Squad enemy number one. And they do this for years, every day. Now, the people that are in this chat and follow this particular content creator, nothing against them. I really feel like they are under some kind of propaganda there. Because think about it. You love Upchurch, you love his music, you love what he stands for. He's an honest dude, right? And you have these content creators that are like all about Ryan. So being a Creek Squad member, what do? You go and you support that channel. And here comes this other dude who becomes enemy number one of Creek Squad, quote unquote, right? And you start, just playing all of his content and pointing out in every single chance you get, just talking about how this is wrong and that is wrong. And I'm not saying this person that is, quote, number one enemy of Creek Squad hasn't done anything wrong. He has. Absolutely. I'm not defending that. What my point is think about that. So for years, these people have watched this content and been able to break down these videos of this one person and talk as badly about him, which granted some of it was, well deserved, right? But for years, almost like what, at least 5 times a week, 3 times a week for hours, a couple hours at a time, right? So if you think about that, and you think about that is propaganda. Now, was it intentionally propaganda at the time? I don't think so. I think it was somebody that just upset, he was messing with maybe Upchurch, and so the content creator went after him, but it stuck. And it just stayed there. And so now you have the people that followed these channels that watched this number one enemy, quote, of Creek Squad for years, and all of a sudden, Ryan gives him a shout out because he knocked out another content creator who's a piece of shit. And then the fans are losing it. That right there shows you that you have had some propaganda in there. If you are taking your hatred for one person and your obsession for one person over the man who led you to the content creator, the man who you respected and you loved and his music you loved. And now, after years of this programming, I'm not saying that the content creator did this on purpose, not at all. Not saying that. But after years of this being constantly an everyday thing, and this happens, and the content creator's like, well, we basically, hey Leeway, how you doing, bro? Basically, you have people turning their backs on Ryan. So that is what's going on. What are your thoughts in the chat? I don't know if I had a phone call coming in that was very important. Sorry, you guys. Anyway, it cut out, Leeway, because I had to take a phone call from my husband. We were having an issue. I was trying to water the garden earlier, and with the hose and everything, but that's what was going on. So sorry, you guys. I had to take that phone call. It's very important. Anyway, so I asked y'all to leave any examples, or what y'all's thoughts are on all this. And like I said, this is kind of maybe a little bit of a stretch for people, and I understand that. And I have no judgment whatsoever for people that are having a hard time putting this together. But let's look at examples. Now we also know that the music industry has also done that, and we've kind of gone over that as well, you know? And so, and then we went into content creators and how this can happen, right? So let's go into what is going on now with these content creators, okay? So these content creators are, of course, very upset, right? They are very upset, you know, because Ryan had given a shout out to a particular person that was enemy number one of Creek Squad, quote unquote. And I'm out here in the yard, you guys. If y'all can't hear me, I'm not reaching the Wi-Fi. So if y'all can't hear me, put a thumbs down, or if I'm breaking up. If you can, put a thumbs up. So, content creators, right? We were talking about how that can be propaganda as well, right? It can be, absolutely. Now, let's look at what they're doing right now. Of course, they're like, okay, all right, this is unacceptable that, you know, Ryan is over here, you know, shouting out this dude who is a piece of shit, right? Have y'all ever thought about, and I mentioned this in Just Doing, have y'all ever thought about, just out of curiosity here, he's his own person? Have y'all ever thought about that? Have y'all ever thought about, you know, hey, you know, he's gonna kind of do what he wants to do? Have y'all ever thought about that? I'm curious. So, if you've not thought about that, think about it like this. And this is what it makes it sound like, you guys. I'm not meaning to judge. I'm not meaning to do anything of the sort, right? You're in grade school and you decide to make friends with somebody, and you have other people telling you, no, you don't need to be friends with that person. Now, that doesn't mean that Ryan's being friends with him. He's just given a shout out a couple of times. But as a kid, what did that make you want to do? Go and be friends with that person even more, right? Because who are any of us to gatekeep Ryan? Who are we? Yeah, we're protective of him. Absolutely. Nothing wrong with that. Okay? But us being protective does not mean that we should gatekeep the dude and tell him how he needs to live his life, who he needs to say hi to, who he shouldn't say hi to, right? And if you have an issue with that, you've got issues in your life. Like, seriously. Like, you can't make people do what you want them to do. So, just think about that. Just think about that. and again, it's no judgment, because I think a lot of these people, they're just protective, and a lot of these people have been a victim of propaganda, including maybe the content creators. You focus on one thing for so long because that's where the numbers are coming in at, and everybody's agreeing that this person is shit, right? But now let's switch it up to what they're doing now. Like I said, now they're dogging another artist for looking up to Upchurch, for hanging out with him, for getting involved in music now. And they're telling him, trying to warn him, oh, dude, you don't wanna do that. You don't wanna end up like Upchurch. What does that mean? What in the world does that mean? Upchurch has over 3 million subscribers on his YouTube. His songs and albums go #1 almost every time. And the dude's got gold and platinum albums, correct? He absolutely does. You know? So, with that being the case, you guys, y'all think about that. Why are they dogging this other artist for, you know, they say that he's even trying to be Upchurch, that he's trying to be too much like him, that he's trying to basically, he's doing his music way too much like him. Well, shoot, you were a fan back then, weren't you? You were a fan of Upchurch, you know, of his music back then. So why are you dogging the dude for a particular style that this dude likes? Why? So anyway, you guys, I don't know if my audio completely cut out. If my audio completely cut out for almost like, I don't know, 10, 15 minutes, put a thumbs up in the chat, please. If it didn't, put a thumbs down if y'all heard some of it. I see that I got 4 people back in here, but I don't know if these are people just looky-loos, and it's okay to not want to say anything if you're just kind of shy. But if you're a looky-loo and just kind of watching from the bushes to see what you can take to the other side, there's a big difference there. So, again, if you can hear me now, let me know. If you couldn't hear me there for the last like 10, 15 minutes, let me know. I'll catch y'all up real quick, and I'm just going to summarize it real quick. So, content creators, now they're dogging this new artist, right? And they're promoting JJ and Adam. This one content creator said that JJ's over here preaching to Upchurch whether he knows it or not. Well, I'm going to tell y'all something right now, you guys. Even the devil knows scripture. I'm just saying. And, you know, there's a thing with being, it's okay to get the word out when you're a Christian, absolutely. But you always gotta think about it. It has to be done in a respectful way. Even Jesus taught that. So these people being pushy like that, or actually trying to preach at people, that's not a good name for Christians. It's not, honestly. There's nothing wrong with sharing the word, but if you're trying to preach it at somebody, that's not a good way. And like I said, even the devil knows scripture. And why are we promoting Adam? Why are these content creators, or this one, saying that, hey, yeah, Adam hasn't done anything wrong. He hasn't said anything to him in 6 months. Bullshit. It was less than 6 months ago when Adam Calhoun made that horrible, disgusting comment about Upchurch and a baby. That wasn't even 6 months ago. And coincidentally, you people forget that. Okay? You people forget it. So if you want to go and have selective memory to make things fit your narrative, at least admit to it. This dude has not changed up once. This dude has always been who he is. And this dude has always been the type that never have people really tell him what to do. Now, will he take advice of fans? Absolutely. Will he go and hey, this fan is saying something about this track I'm about to release. Maybe it can be changed up a little bit. He will go and actually do that. If he feels like, hey, this person may have a point. He is open-minded. But is he for other people gatekeeping him? And is he for other people telling him how to live his life and who he can say hi to and who he can't? No. Are you? How would you like it if I went to you and said, don't say hi to that person? You ask me why, I tell you. Okay. You wouldn't like that. Nobody likes being told what to do. Let's go to another point of what the content creator's doing now. This one content creator is so far up Deerdorf's butt that I can't, and I'm going to be blunt here, you guys, and if you follow this other content creator, you already know, and if you're not okay with what I'm saying, that's fine. You don't have to listen to this live. You can unsubscribe to me. That's fine. I'm putting this all out there. But saying, I know Deerdorf, he don't ever lie. Bullshit. Deerdorf and Repta have been both caught in their lies, but then the same conversation, or from one story to another. How can you say that they don't lie, or that he doesn't lie? Again, you're picking your facts of what you want to make it fit your narrative. All because y'all all got propagandized by watching this Enemy of Creek Squad's content. I think even the content creator got propagandized by that. And it does something with your mind, that propaganda. It really can. This content creator went as far as to compare Deerdorf to a woman and say that if Upchurch was in a relationship, like if Deerdorf was the girl and Ryan was the boy, it would be considered an abusive relationship by Ryan. Okay. I don't think that's really defending Deerdorf that much right there, because, you are kind of admitting he does act like a woman right there. And I know that's not your intent of what you were trying to say, but that wasn't really a good comparison. But also implying, and actually outright stating on your live, that you believe Beth is being mentally abused. Go fuck yourself. No. Do you know that? Are you in their home? You absolutely are not. And if you're believing those texts, like I've said before, those texts are not legal. They are not going to hold up in a court of law. Anybody can change the name on a contact name for text messages and show screenshots. And let's not forget, and I did this live before other people started talking about this, my last live that I did, his phone was missing, right? His phone was missing. Somebody else had the password. Duh. So somebody can go and, but you see, here's the thing that they don't understand. is that there are forensics that can be proven with this, that it was not him. And they are dumb because they think that they've really got him, but they don't. They don't. All right. So, we went over propaganda, okay? We went over some of the things that the content creators have done in the past. They've also went out of their way to talk about his mom. And, you know, dude, I'm guilty of that myself. Like, if you watch any of my videos, and I try not to take any of my videos down because I want to see people like, if I've messed up, I want people to be able to see I'm holding myself accountable, okay? There are a few videos that I've done where I've called out stuff and I'm like, yeah, look at what his family did to him, right? I've done it too. Yeah, absolutely. Now he's saying, you know, like, what's being presented right now, it's looking like she was set up. Okay? And that very well could be a possibility. Could be a possibility he just forgave her. We don't know. We're not Ryan, right? But at the end of the day, that's his mom. At the end of the day, he has a right to do what he wants to do. And I'm sorry, but I'm not sorry here. It is none of our business to gatekeep Ryan and his family. You know, I kind of got into it with one of the family members on a chat. It was from another person's YouTube video. And this person, she was being very defensive and calling this content creator, saying, basically implying that she was lying and things of that nature. So I called her out. We went back and forth a few times, but at the end I told this person, now she's not technically family, but I told her, hey, at the end of the day, if Ryan decides, you know, y'all are good, you know, I really do hope that's the case. You know, but it's not really my business to speak about. And the only reason why I'm speaking about it now, you guys, is because I'm wanting to point out to y'all that I've been guilty of some of this stuff too. You know? But I believe in Ryan. I believe he is an extremely intelligent man. I believe that he stays 10 steps ahead. And I believe that also, like, he really does look into people, including his family. Now, maybe there for a while he didn't with some family members because they were family. But you know what? Hey, if at the end of the day, what he decides to do, that's his decision, that's his family, and none of us have a right to tell him, no, you don't do that. You don't forgive this person or that person. That's up to him. That's not up to us. So, another thing that they're doing is they're dogging his music, saying that, oh, I was just all autoplay that one song. You know, that song that Upchurch did recently. They All Want Me Dead Right Now. Right? Okay. This tells me you don't really know much about music. Because, all right. The auto-tune that was used in the correct way. Okay? It wasn't used for everything and throughout the whole entire track. Okay? Auto-tune, whenever it came out, it was actually used as a special effect for the sound. Again, not to be used through the whole track. And that's exactly how Ryan used it. He didn't use it for the whole track. He used it for the sound effect. And it's okay if you don't know that. You're used to certain genres, mainly what Upchurch has put out before, maybe some rock, country rap, country. If you don't know that, you're learning. And that's a good thing. And that's exactly how Ryan used it. It wasn't all auto-tune. That is a lie. And if you don't like that kind of music, that's okay. That's okay. But does that mean his music for the last year and a half has been trash? Absolutely not. And I think that most of y'all would agree with that, wouldn't you? Money doesn't lie. You put your money into it. And you kept putting your money into it because you like his music. You know, so this is where I'm going with it. So how has the music industry try to control the masses in the past? Do you guys know? If you do, you can put an example or put a thumbs up. If you don't, put a thumbs down. All right. He's not a tweaker, BJ. And I'm sorry that you're believing that. He's not a tweaker. First of all, he would be much thinner being a tweaker. That would be one thing. You would also see dental problems after a while. And another thing, BJ, and the reason why I don't agree with you here is that just like Mountain Girl said in her live, if the dude is a tweaker, how would he have the mind he still does right now? And how would he be able to just recognize that power of attorney paper was suspect as hell and not sign it and tear it up? So, no, his bottoms are not rotten. I've seen videos of him, and that's not true. That is not true. His bottoms are not rotten. I've seen videos of him talking where you can see his bottom teeth. That is not true. And if it was meth, it would be actually the top teeth are the first affected, not the bottom. So just keep that in mind, you guys. No. Okay. So you're going with the whole story that's been put out there by these content creators that, oh, well, he's already on Adderall and he needs that fix, so he went to meth. No, that's not true. He had to replace it with meth. No. The man has admitted to taking a few Adderall, especially right before he's hitting the studio, right? But he takes it sporadically. That tells you right there he is not addicted. But he knows he does have ADHD. And everybody that has ADHD does not do meth or needs a fix. That is untrue. I've had people in my family that have taken medicine for ADHD and have taken Adderall, and they've never needed a quote fix. And honestly, the people with ADHD, it doesn't affect them the same way that people that don't have ADHD. People that don't have ADHD and take Adderall, yeah, it gives them some sort of high. But the people that have ADHD, it does not. You don't know what you're talking about, bro. You don't. I did answer all of your questions, BJ. And this is my example right here, you guys. This is my example right here. BJ, dude, you are a victim of propaganda right there. BJ, just because you slang some dope back in the day a few times here and there doesn't mean I don't know drugs or what drugs can do to people. You don't know me to know. So, agreed, Jody. Yeah. But anyway, I mean, that's my example, you guys. This is what I'm talking about right here. Y'all go to the point of, like, just hammering this one thing that doesn't make sense and trying to fit a triangle into a square opening. And, like, no, it's this, and this, and you're stupid, and you don't know what you're talking about. But the triangle won't fit. This is exactly what I'm talking about with the propaganda, you guys. So, how does the music industry try to control the masses? Anybody hear about the private prisons? Hey, Canada, what's going on, bro? If you do, put a thumbs up. If you don't know about the private prisons with the music industry, put a thumbs down. BJ, you're more than welcome to stay here. I hope that some of my stuff is going to be at least informative to you. I'm not really going to dog you or, call out anything else you got to say in here. Well, BJ, you're asking me if I have any proof. I have never met the man, but you can tell by the way he acts. Okay? Do you have any proof? Exactly. Accountability, yeah. They don't own all the prisons, but what if I told you that back in the 80s, a lot of private prisons were built, right? And supposedly, in 1992 or 1993, a secret meeting was held where a lot of the top people in the music industry of the top labels had a meeting at a house outside of Los Angeles. And at this meeting, they were all, as soon as they sat down, they were supposed to sign an NDA. Some people asked what it was about. They were told to get out. Nothing was going to be discussed before that NDA was signed. The NDA was signed by these people. And then they go into, okay, well, what we're going to need you guys to do is to find people that will promote more violent music. Oh, okay. Why? Because we just got a contract where we can funnel money for these private prisons, and the government's involved too, and we need people to film. What if I told you that happened? And then, coincidentally, when did hip-hop start becoming more violent? Early 90s. Correct? So, that is one way, right? That's just already been known, okay? Another way, look at conservatorships. That is another big way that the independent music, not independent music, the music industry will control the masses because, okay, think about this. A lot of people are big on music. That is their thing. They love music. They love the people they love no matter what, right? And if you go and you put their favorite artist in a conservatorship and put them to where they can only release what the music label tells them to release and when, then you were controlling what their fans hear, right? And in that sense, you were, in a way, also controlling the fans. And also, it becomes disheartening even to the fans, even the die-hard fans, because they're like, yeah, this person's in a conservatorship, but I still love their music, right? You know, that's another way. So, another way the music industry has tried to control the masses. Anybody here hear of the death clause? If you have, put a thumbs up. If you haven't, put a thumbs down. To the people I haven't said hi yet, hey, Anchored Arrow. Let's see here. Georgia, hey, Georgia, how you doing, bro? Let's see. BJ, darling, that is not what I said. I never said music stars are in private prisons. I never said that. You need to go back and rewind, honey. I said that violent music was promoted so that way people were more apt to violent and aggressive behavior, therefore getting locked up more, therefore having more people that slung dope, just like you say you did. and getting locked up and being put in these private prisons. That's what I said, darling. So, yes, I know Canada. I know you've heard of the death clause, because actually you sent me a video a while back about that. So the death clause with artists is where it's like in tiny writing on a contract. And it's like, in the event of this artist's death, the music label shall be able to collect a whole big percentage, or maybe all, of any money that is made off of their music, their merch. And the merch, for mainstream, it doesn't even have to be just like shirts and stuff like the independents have. Like, look at the Beatles, like dolls and stuff. Whole musical instruments with Beatles, like Beatles logo on them and stuff like that. I mean, seriously, think about that. So, I didn't say they were controlled by private prisons, BJ. See, this is the thing, darling. Okay. I said that the music industry is controlling the masses because they got in line with the government to build these private prisons all the way back in the 80s. In the early 90s, they had this meeting. And I'm talking about the top music labels, the top people from the top music labels. And they were like, we need to find more violent music. That is the music industry, BJ. So, I know, Jody, I understand. And I'm not, like, the purpose of this video, it's, again, I'm trying not to, yeah, I said last night, shame on all of you that have turned your back on Upchurch. Absolutely, I still will say that right now. But it's trying to inform these people. And if you get to the point where you're getting stupid and just, it doesn't matter, whatever, you're not hearing any little bit, then I'm gonna go ahead and have Jody kick you out. So, the death clause, all right, think about how many artists suddenly died. Can y'all think of a couple artists that just suddenly died? Even if it was a, quote, drug overdose, or, quote, they unalived themselves or something. No, I agree, Jody. I agree. And I try to give everybody a shot because I think some people, that propaganda, it just takes so much, like, trying to undo that damage and undo those tunnel vision thoughts sometimes, that I think that I'm trying to have a little bit more patience, even though I know it's probably, not even worth the time. But at least I'm trying. I'll try. But yeah, y'all think about any artists. Kurt Cobain. That's what you said, Georgia, right? Yeah. Kurt Cobain was one. He accidentally shot himself with a shotgun. And his toe was on the trigger. That's how that had to have happened. But he had so much heroin in his system that he wouldn't have been able to move. So how does that make sense, right? So those are some good examples, and how does the music industry control people in that sense? I agree, Leeway. I agree wholeheartedly. So how does that control the masses? Well, think about it. You've thought about so many artists before, even Kurt Cobain, right? A lot of people love the music, love the person, love the band, right? Then you have one of those people, all of a sudden they're just not there anymore. Well, that's traumatic, right? That is traumatic. And how does this tie into this is an experiment? Are we seeing an experiment in live time right now? How does it, you guys? What is trauma? Anybody want to put in the chat what they think trauma is? And I'm going to wait a few minutes for y'all to catch up. Okay, Canada, I got you. It's probably going to be a little while before I'm on Instagram, you guys. I got to try to figure out that hose. Stoner Man messaged me. But if you, I'll try to put, anybody that's doing a replay, I'll probably try to put that, hey, fast forward about 35 minutes in, because I believe I was off of Wi-Fi, you guys. I don't know if y'all could hear me or what was going on, but we've had an issue with trying to get our garden watered and stuff like that. So, and unfortunately, Stoner Man's at work, and he's trying to guide me. So, anyway, all right. Okay, so trauma. Trauma is an emotional or mental distress caused by experiences. Do you think emotional mental distress would be an artist dying? If you do, put a thumbs up. If you don't, put a thumbs down. Especially if it was one of your favorite artists. Like that's happened time and time before over history. Absolutely, Leeway. I think so too. And how does this tie in together, you guys? Well, what were they planning? If we're to believe all this, which I do, I believe that this was going on. I do believe that there was a plot. I do. It makes sense. And those who say it doesn't make sense, we don't have common sense, actually, that is actually a deflection, and that is what they're doing. They're not using their sense. They are the people that watch probably crime shows and think they know what's going on, but they don't. Like, seriously. Anyway, that would be traumatic to us, right? We would not, I mean, dude, Jody said it before. They try to control us. We ain't having that shit. We'll see that from a mile away. And I'm with Jody on that one. I know a lot of other people are with Jody on that one. No. You're trying to affect the man to affect us. No. He's not being affected. And you know what? We're going to show by example like he does. And we're going to be resilient. And you ain't going to control us either. How about that? Music industry. How about that? Another way, and this is kind of small, and this is more so for the more emotional people, the emotional thinkers. So a lot of you guys in the chat, y'all are more logical thinkers. You know, you try to put pieces together, but you do it logically, and you try not to do it with emotion, even though we all love Upchurch, right? We all love his music, we all respect the man, everything, right? But you do it logically. A lot of these people are emotional. So, think about it from their aspect. If they're emotional thinkers, okay, the friends of Ryan, we all once supported, right? I don't know who that is, Leeway. Put who that is in the chat. That Extentacion? Is that? I'm speaking in Spanish, sorry. Put who that is in the chat. I don't know who that is. But so we all supported his friends, but us logical ones that are like, hey, we're over here, and see that they just turn their back on him. We're like, okay, well, we're done with you too. Okay, fine. But the emotional thinkers are like, oh my gosh, that's traumatic. Because to them it is traumatic, right? The family wants all of us supported, right? Watching podcast or whatever it may be. Anything that they were doing, we were in support of, because we're like, yeah, you're supporting church. Us logical thinkers are over here after they turn their back and they're running their mouth and they started the whole internet thing. We're like, okay, we're done. But the emotional thinkers are like traumatized. Now think of the content creators. And that even hits home even more so because a lot of these people, like I said, they watch these people religiously every day. They put out lives or videos for hours, talking about 5 hours at a time, maybe sometimes 2, whatever it may be. And there's nothing wrong with doing those kind of lives, but whenever it's all focused on one person, number one enemy of Creek Squad, or Ryan's mom, or, the dude from Canada, whatever it may be, right? Whatever it may be, and you're seeing that daily, and you're picking it apart, that person, through that whole live daily, and now they're doing it to Ryan. That is also, for these a lot of these people that are in these chats are emotional people. They're not thinking logically. And this isn't saying like, hey, I'm like, oh yeah, let's all be friends. No, I'm not saying that. I won't be friends with y'all unless you wake up and you own some accountability for yourself. Oh, he's a rapper. Okay. See, Jody, I'm gonna tell you, okay, you guys, before I started listening to Ryan's music, I had been away from the whole rap scene since the 90s, pretty much. Sure, I liked a few 50 Cent. Sure, I liked a few DMX. Sure, but my main thing in the 90s was that 90s hip hop and late 80s. So I kind of walked away. So I don't know much about that. So I appreciate y'all letting me know that. Oh, he was dead from an overdose. Absolutely. No, church is not one. Absolutely, Jody. Isn't that sad that he's had to do that? That he's had to, take drug tests to prove it? Like, that's just ridiculous. No musician has had to go through what Upchurch is going through. And the reason why, you guys, and the reason why these emotional thinkers don't get it is because they've been propagandized, first of all, and it's an experiment. It's an experiment on Creek Squad, and you've got a division now, and I'm okay with division. I didn't used to be. I wanted everybody just to get along and whatever, but that's just not going to happen because you have people that have allowed themselves to be propagandized, and it's going to take them a while for them to figure out, like, they need to have some deprogramming done. And whenever the deprogramming done, maybe they can open their eyes and see everything, even if they are an emotional thinker. But then they need to have some accountability for turning their back, whether it was intentionally or not, being propagandized or not. There's still accountability to be had there. For me, I'm not saying from anybody else. I'm not saying from Just Doing. I'm not saying from any other content creator. I'm not even saying for Upchurch. But that's just for me. So, yeah. A lot are complacent, and when shit goes down, they're not around or quiet as a church mouse. Absolutely. Absolutely, Jody. So, again, you guys, I do believe that, to tie it all together, I do believe it's an experiment. I believe that these content creators unintentionally propagandize themselves and their people. And by therefore, it was easier to control the masses, even though they didn't even realize they were doing it. But now anything these content creators say, these people are agreeing. And that's kind of what happens with MK Ultra as well. We are seeing an experiment in real time. In real time within our own fan base, dude. Within our own fan base. And the illusionary truth effect is real thing 100%. absolutely. You know how many times I've watched things lately from the content creators I once trusted, and I'll see they'll put a small bit of truth in there and then turn everything else out the other way around. It's insane. It's insane, you guys. So I've been on here for a minute, even though I was talking the whole time, but I don't think y'all could hear me for the first 35 minutes because, again, we had some stuff going on. Anyway, it's great to see all of you in the chat. And, dude, if y'all have different opinions, that's okay. I encourage you to think. If you don't agree with me, that's okay. You don't have to agree that there's an experiment being done right now in real time. But I do 100%, 10,000% with everything. I do believe that they are doing this to Ryan to get to us. I do. And it's working. Just Doing has kind of pointed this out as well last night. And like I said at the beginning of this live, if y'all have not watched that video, check it out. It'll give you kind of some background to this. And again, these are my own thoughts, everything. So don't confuse what I say with what Just Doing is saying. They will say what they mean on their own podcast. So, anyway, but thanks for hanging out with me, you guys. I know Stoner's awesome. Thank you, Jody. And y'all are too, bro. Like, seriously, y'all, that's why I was saying at the beginning, y'all are so laid back. Y'all don't get in the drama. Y'all don't. Only until it's at a point where you're like, you know what? Something needs to be said. And that's when y'all do it. Now, I get a little bit more upset quickly and I'll just go right at it. You know me, Jody. But, that doesn't make it right that I do that, but I do that. But anyway, yeah, you guys, if y'all haven't checked out Just Doing, be sure to subscribe. Be sure to check out their videos. Are awesome. And we do have an independent artist in the house over here. It's Georgia Redneck. He does comedy and music, so y'all be sure to check him out. Stoner, hey baby. Hey, baby. Hey, I just wanted to let you know I did get that hose somewhat fixed. That's why the first 30 to 35 minutes of my live, nobody could barely hear me. I think I got it fixed. So, you don't need to worry. I was taking care of business, baby. He called me on while I was on this live, you guys. And he was trying to get to the bottom of it. And I'm all like, I'm on a live right now. You know how this woman can get sometimes. But, yeah, so. But, baby, I think I figured it out. So, there should be no issues with that hose. So, anyway, I don't know if he's still in here or if he heard any of that. But, anyway, yeah, y'all let me know what y'all think. If you're watching this on a replay, it's okay if you don't agree with me. I just kind of presented a loose group of things I know. Now, if I were to really dig in and do research, even though I provided really some spot-on points of everything that has actually truly happened in history with the music industry and how controlling people has worked with propaganda and has worked with MK Ultra. Even if you don't agree with me, that's okay. I don't expect everybody to agree with me 100% of the time. We should all, like Stonerman has said before, we should all encourage people to think on their own, just like Upchurch has done with us, and have their own mind and their own opinions. I'm never going to come at somebody for having a different opinion. Now, if you're over here just dogging church and you aren't seeing reason, after a while I'm just be like, okay, yeah, no, I'm just kind of done with that conversation, but that's a different deal. So, anyway, all right, you guys, well, y'all have a great one. I'll be seeing y'all around on IG later. It's going to be a little while. I got to do a little bit more, stuff around here and everything else, but it's good to see y'all. Let me know what y'all think if y'all are watching this on replay. Y'all have a great day. Creek Squad, motherfucker.